G'day, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt, but you'll know me as WFX Malice. This is a short tutorial showing you how to configure your virtual switches in Hyper-V Manager to allow you to deploy PFSense as a virtual machine within Hyper-V Core on a physical server. For this, you need to make sure you have two spare NICs on your server, one for your WAN and one for your LAN. This tutorial isn't designed to show you how to install PFSense. For that, I'm going to link you to a couple of videos by TekNex Solutions, who does an awesome job of showing you how to set up and configure the program. This is literally just covering over the small bit of information that seems to be missed regarding the virtual switches. Now let's get started. If we take a look at our network diagram, there's a lot going on here, but let's keep things simple. We're only interested in 6 numbers. These 3 here, which will enter into PFSense once we've installed it, and these 3 numbers here, which will enter into the system config panel on Hyper-V Core. Now, I've color-coded things and I've subnetted on the 3rd octet just to make it a little bit easier to follow along. However, I've given you the hint here looking at the WAN network on how you could subnet on the 4th octet to keep things nice and neat. Now let's jump over to Hyper-V Manager. And at this point, you should have created your PFSense virtual machine, 2 virtual switches, and now you're about to create your 3rd. Let's rename the 2 you've created, because whatever you call them here is going to show up in ipconfig on Hyper-V Core. This will help you work out which switch is for what network port. Let's rename your external to external WAN, and let's rename the internal to internal LAN. We're going to create the 3rd one and call it external LAN. Make sure you assign it to a different network adapter so that they're not conflicting. Jump over to your Hyper-V Core, open up command prompt and do an ipconfig. Take note of the names and the adapters. Now jump back over to the system config page, press 8 to adjust your network settings and apply the correct IP addresses to the correct network adapters. If you've got a digital connection to the internet, for example, fiber to the premises, you can do away with your ISP's router and plug your network connection straight from the wall into the network port that you've assigned to external WAN on your server. If you've got an analog internet connection, for example, fiber to the node or ADSL, you'll still need to use a router to convert from an analog signal to a digital signal. You can go ahead and set the IP address on your router to suit the subnet that you've already chosen. Keeping in mind that whatever you do here now will drop you out from the internet and restrict you from following on with any other tutorials. What I suggest you do is use an old spare router and set that one up as a dummy WAN. That way at least you can ping across your network and test everything before you go and make any final changes. From there, you can go and assign a static IP address to the network adapter assigned to external LAN. In my example, I've gone with 10.0.0.2/24, reserving 10.0.0.1 for PFSense. Now that'll be my web management console address. The last step we need to do before we can start the PFSense installation is to assign a static IP address to the virtual switch for internal LAN. Now for this example, I've gone with 10.0.10.2/24, reserving 10.0.10.1 for my PFSense address. This network is only going to be used for your virtual machines to talk backwards and forwards to each other, keeping all their network chatter and broadcast off of your external switch, speeding up your network. Now you're ready to start your PFSense installation process. Once it's finished installing, I recommend only setting up the network adapters for both of the external LAN and the WAN, and wait until you get into the web console to assign the internal LAN to the VLANs. It's just a lot easier if you can point and click. This concludes the short version of the tutorial on setting up the virtual network switches for PFSense. I will try and do an extended version of this with a lot more information to help those out who aren't as familiar with networking. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.